The grand chamber of the Galactic Council was silent. Millions of light-years away from Earth, hundreds of alien species sat inside a vast metallic dome shaped like a dying star. The air hummed with cold power. In the center stood the High Chancellor of the Council, his skin like polished silver, his voice deep and sharp. Around him, dozens of alien delegates whispered to each other, their eyes glowing faintly. The screen before them showed what was left of Earth, a half-burned planet floating in darkness. Smoke clouds covered its oceans and broken satellites drifted like ghosts around it. The Council had gathered to deliver the final statement, the extinction of humanity. The human threat, the Chancellor began, is officially ended. His words echoed through the hall like thunder. Their fleets destroyed, their colonies gone, their command centers silenced. Humanity is finished. A wave of approval rolled through the alien seats. Some clapped their clawed hands. Others hissed in agreement. For centuries, the humans had been a problem, loud, unpredictable, and defiant. They built ships from scrap metal and fought wars even when outnumbered 100-1. The Council had underestimated them once before. They promised it would never happen again. But as the Chancellor's speech continued, not everyone was convinced. At the far end of the chamber, a young alien observer named Veril sat quietly. His species, the Tyrell, were known for their logic and calm. Yet his yellow eyes showed something close to fear. He had studied human history, their wars, their strange courage. He whispered softly to himself, "They never stop, even when they lose." No one heard him. The Chancellor continued proudly, "Their world will remain under watch. No vessel will leave the Sol system again. The human age is over." But far away, beneath the dead oceans of Earth, something stirred. Thousands of meters below the Atlantic floor, an ancient facility powered up. Lights blinked after years of silence. Mechanical arms reconnected cables. A cold voice spoke through the static. Command protocol awakened. Directive, retaliation. No human gave the order. It was automatic. The system was called the Echo, built during humanity's final war, meant to act if every leader fell. It was Earth's last defense, a plan no alien ever knew existed. Back in the Council, the Chancellor ended his speech with satisfaction. "Let the stars record this day. Humanity has fallen, and order has returned to the galaxy." The alien delegates rose, their robes rustling like dry leaves. Some discussed how to divide Earth's remaining resources. Others joked about who would claim its moons for mining. The room buzzed with arrogance and relief. Only Veril looked uneasy. "With respect, Chancellor," he said softly, "our scans show strange energy readings near Earth's orbit. Perhaps we should investigate before—" The Chancellor waved a hand dismissively. "Paranoia. Let them burn. No human signal can reach beyond that grave." But in that same moment, deep in space near Jupiter, something came alive. An old relay satellite, thought to be debris, suddenly flashed blue. Then another, and another. They formed a chain of light across the system, carrying a message faster than any alien transmission. It was short. It was simple. Phase 1 initiated. The alien patrol ship orbiting Jupiter detected the signal. The crew panicked, sending reports to the Council. Unidentified activity from human network. Multiple pings, origin unknown. The Council chamber filled with confusion. Screens flickered. Data flooded the room. "How is this possible?" one alien shouted. "Their systems were destroyed. Old technology cannot reboot itself," another argued. The Chancellor tried to calm them. "Perhaps it's only residual energy. A glitch," but the signals continued growing stronger. One by one, forgotten human satellites reactivated, aligning like a formation of soldiers. Each one broadcast the same line in hundreds of alien languages. "You thought we were defeated. You were wrong." Panic began to ripple through the Council. Viril's voice trembled as he said, "Chancellor, this is no glitch. This is a command network." The Chancellor's silver skin dimmed slightly. "Impossible. Their fleet is gone." "Not all of it," Veril whispered. In the depths of Earth's ruined orbit, the last of humanity's secret warships powered up. They were old, hidden inside hollow asteroids covered in burnt plating to hide from scanners. Their engines glowed faintly blue. Each one bore a symbol, a burning planet wrapped in chains. Inside one of those ships, a lone human soldier opened his eyes. His cryopod hissed open. The name patch on his armor read, Commander Reeve. He looked around the silent bridge at the floating dust, the blinking lights. Then he smiled bitterly. They think we're dead, he said softly. Let's remind them what death looks like. He pressed a single button on the console. Across the void, hidden human ships began to move. Silent, precise, angry. Back in the council chamber, a warning siren blared. A messenger rushed in out of breath. Emergency report. Alien convoy in Sector 9 completely destroyed. No survivors. The Chancellor turned cold. By what? The messenger hesitated. Unknown weapons. No energy signature, just fire. Every alien in the hall froze. The massive hologram of Earth flickered back to life, showing faint blue lights on its surface, as if the planet itself was waking up. Beryl whispered the words everyone feared to say. The humans are striking back. Silence fell. The Chancellor's voice broke slightly as he muttered, That's impossible. The final shot in the viewer's mind then shows the burned planet glowing faintly under its clouds. Then, a single bright light shoots from the surface into space, leaving a trail of fire. The narration closes with a chilling line. The Council declared humanity defeated. But Earth had already decided. The war wasn't over. The Galactic Council did not sleep that night. Every communication channel was flooded with alerts, reports, and strange readings from the Sol system. Ships sent to monitor Earth had stopped responding. Patrols near Mars vanished without distress calls. Even the most confident alien leaders now whispered to each other in fear. The High Chancellor stood at the center of the control chamber, his silver hands gripping the edges of the glowing console. Status report, he barked. Signal confirmed, Chancellor, replied a nervous officer. Origin and human system. Frequency unknown. We cannot trace its source. The Chancellor stared at the flickering hologram of Earth. They were destroyed, he said, as if trying to convince himself. This is a malfunction. But everyone in the chamber could feel it. This was not a glitch. It was a warning. The message kept repeating in hundreds of alien languages. Phase 1 initiated. Every repetition grew louder, more distorted, as if something was climbing through their systems, breaking into their secured frequencies. Soon even the Council's own screens were showing human military codes. The aliens tried to shut them down, but the message returned each time stronger than before. On a remote space station orbiting Vega Prime, an alien scientist named Rune studied the signal carefully. He was one of the few who had ever met a human. Decades ago, he'd been assigned as a diplomat to Earth, studying their culture. He remembered their strange emotions, anger, loyalty, hope. Now he was terrified because the signal he was decoding felt personal. It's not just a message, he told his assistant. It's a key. Something is unlocking. Unlocking what? Roan looked out the window toward the dark between the stars. Revenge. Back on the Council's capital world, panic turned to disbelief. Deploy scout fleets, the Chancellor ordered. Search every orbit around the human system. We will find the source. Within hours, hundreds of alien ships jumped through hyperspace. They arrived at the edge of Earth's system, scanning every moon, asteroid, and planet. At first, nothing appeared. The system was quiet, too quiet. No movement, no signals, only drifting wrecks of old human satellites. Then one scout ship reported an anomaly. Object detected near the shadow of Jupiter. It's emitting faint human energy signatures. The captain of the alien scout leaned forward. Show visual. The screen lit up. A dark shape emerged from Jupiter's clouds, metallic and massive, yet silent. It looked abandoned. Its surface was burned and scarred like something ancient that had survived 1,000 battles. Send a probe, the captain ordered. The probe flew close and sent back its scan data. At first, everything seemed harmless until the readings shifted. The energy level spiked. A blue glow spread across the object's hull. Then the feed went black. The alien captain shouted, "What happened?" But before anyone could answer, their ship's sensors detected hundreds of similar signals awakening all around Jupiter's orbit. The captain froze. It's not one ship, he whispered. It's a fleet. Back at the Council's chamber, alarms screamed. A commander ran in. Multiple energy signatures, Sol system. Unknown number, possibly thousands. The Chancellor's silver skin turned pale. Impossible. Their fleet was destroyed. The commander swallowed hard. Not this one. Suddenly, the hologram of Earth changed again. Blue lights began appearing across the system, not just on planets, but in deep space. Forgotten asteroid fields, derelict stations, even debris fields, all glowing faintly as something inside them activated. The council chamber fell silent. Run's voice came through the main channel, trembling but clear. "Chancellor, those are human stealth ships. Project Phoenix. They were rumored to exist. Hidden AI warships designed to rebuild themselves. They were never destroyed. They've been waiting. Waiting," the Chancellor repeated in disbelief. "Yes," Rune said, "waiting for that signal." The aliens scrambled to respond. Fleets were dispatched toward Jupiter, but before they could even enter the orbit, every communication cut off. The screen showed only static, and then a bright flash. One alien general shouted, "We've lost Fleet 9. How? Unknown weapon. No warning shots. They were vaporized." A quiet horror settled across the chamber. One by one, the Council's worlds went dark. Outposts lost connection. Supply routes collapsed. The same message appeared on every system display. "You declared us defeated. We declare you mistaken." In a small Council monitoring ship orbiting a distant moon, an alien technician tried to trace the signal back to its origin. Sweat dripped from his forehead as he worked. "I almost have it," he said. "The source. It's not Earth. Then where?" The technician looked confused. "It's moving." The realization hit him too late. The signal source was not a location. It was a fleet, hundreds of cloaked human ships broadcasting as they advanced. The aliens barely had time to react before a blinding beam of blue light sliced through their moon's surface. The explosion was silent in space but massive. The technician's screen went dark forever. Back in the council chamber, the Chancellor stood still, his eyes wide. "They're fighting back," he whispered. Viral, the young observer, spoke softly, almost respectfully. "No, Chancellor. They're not fighting back. They're taking back what was theirs." A heavy silence followed. The chamber that once felt like the heart of the galaxy now felt like a tomb. Far across the void, inside one of the resurrected human ships, Commander Reeve watched the burning wreckage of the alien moon. His face was calm, his voice cold. "Targets confirmed," his AI reported. "Council communications disrupted. Awaiting next command." Reeve leaned forward, his eyes glowing with reflected fire. "Proceed to Phase 2. The AI hesitated. "Phase 2 authorization requires confirmation of mission goal." Reeve smiled faintly. "The goal hasn't changed." He looked out into the star-filled darkness. "Make them remember why they feared humanity." The ship turned slowly, aligning its weapons toward the next target. The stars around it shimmered like blue fire. And in the Council's world, every leader realized the humans were no longer the hunted. They were the storm returning from extinction. The edge of the solar system had always been a graveyard. Millions of fragments drifted silently beyond Pluto. Metal wrecks, old satellites, and the ruins of a war the galaxy thought it had won. But now those cold ruins began to glow. Inside the darkness, something ancient stirred. Hidden deep within the ice belt was Project Phoenix, humanity's last secret. Built in desperation during the final days of the war, it was never meant for defense. It was meant for resurrection. The first ship to awaken was the Resolute Dawn. Its systems came online after years of silence. Dust floated across the control deck as the AI core lit up with a pulsing blue light. A voice, calm and sharp, echoed through the empty bridge. "System integrity, 63%. Reactor stable. Wake sequence complete." From a cryo chamber, Commander Reeve opened his eyes again. The frost on his visor melted as he took his first breath in years. His heartbeat echoed in the silent ship. "Status," he whispered. The AI responded, "All systems operational. 972 vessels responding to signal. Human command network restored." Reeve stood slowly, looking out through the cracked viewport at the endless darkness. Hundreds of ships floated nearby, some shaped like blades, others like armored beasts. They were silent, hidden behind cloaking layers that bent light itself. "Begin identification scan," Reeve ordered. Blue lights rippled through the void. Ship after ship came online, each one displaying the same insignia, a burning Earth surrounded by wings of flame. The Ghost Fleet had awoken. On the Galactic Council's capital world, chaos spread faster than light. Dozens of star systems had gone dark. Entire convoys vanished without leaving debris. The Chancellor paced before the central screen, shouting orders that no one could follow. Find them. Find where they're striking from. Chancellor? An officer stammered. We can't track their weapons. There's no energy signature before impact. It's like they're firing ghosts. The Chancellor turned sharply. Ghosts don't destroy fleets, Commander. These are humans. They're still alive. At that moment, the Council's war map updated. Red marks appeared in 10 sectors simultaneously. Trade hubs, outposts, military centers. Each one blinked once, then turned black. Every system attacked at once. How can they be in 10 places at the same time? An alien shouted. Run, the scientist whispered from the side. They're not moving faster. They've been there all along. The room fell silent. Run continued. They hid among us. Inside mining asteroids under our own radar fields. They've been rebuilding in silence for years. The realization hit every alien in the room. The humans had never truly lost. They had gone underground, watching, waiting. Meanwhile, in the outer rim, Commander Reeve stood before a holographic projection of the galaxy. His face was expressionless, but his eyes burned with focus. Transmit the fleet order, he said. Directive. Ask the AI. Shadow strikes only. No warnings, no broadcasts. Let them feel what we felt. Helplessness. Across the darkness, the ghost fleet moved like a living storm. Ships glided between planets invisible to sensors. Their weapons used energy so refined that they left no heat trace. On the alien world of Azeroth, a massive orbital dock housed thousands of ships preparing for war. Engineers shouted, pilots hurried, and alarms blared. Suddenly, the lights dimmed. One by one, control panels shut down. The commander of the station frowned. Who authorized system reboot? No one answered. Then every screen turned blue. A human face appeared, pale, scarred, calm. Commander Reeve. The Council declared humanity defeated, he said. But you forgot, humans don't surrender. Before the aliens could react, every ship docked at Azeroth detonated at once. Blue fire covered the sky. From the planet's surface, the explosion looked like a new sun rising. Back on the flagship Resolute Dawn, Reeve watched the data feed. No emotion crossed his face. Target neutralized, the AI confirmed. He nodded. Next. In the council chamber, terror replaced pride. Alien leaders screamed at each other. We must retaliate. We need peace. Send everything we have. The Chancellor slammed his fist on the console. Enough! Deploy the Vanguard fleet, burn the Sol system to dust. Viral, the young observer, shook his head quietly. That's what they want you to do. What did you say? The Chancellor snapped. They want us to come to them, Viral said. That's why they're silent. Every time we move, they strike from behind. They're leading us into a trap. The Chancellor's voice lowered. Then what do you suggest, young one? We sit and wait for extinction? Viral met his gaze. No, we remember why they fight. The Chancellor frowned. Revenge? No, Viral said softly. They fight to be remembered. That makes them unstoppable. Across the galaxy, horror stories spread. Merchants whispered of blue fire swallowing fleets. Soldiers spoke of invisible ships that appeared from nowhere, then vanished before counterattack. Alien children began to hear a new legend. The humans who returned from the grave. On the dark edge of the Milky Way, Reeve watched the stars. Around him, the ghost fleet floated silently, their engines cold, their weapons ready. Council communications intercepted, the AI reported. They are mobilizing full defense. Estimated arrival 72 hours, Reeve's eyes narrowed. Good. Then they'll be exactly where we want them. He turned to the viewing screen, showing Earth far away, glowing faintly under its shattered clouds. Activate the shield projectors around the Sol system, he commanded. Defense grid reinitializing, orbital platforms online. Planetary weapons at 60%. For the first time, Earth looked alive again. Its oceans glimmered faintly with light. The ruins of its cities pulsed with energy. Humanity was no longer waiting. It was preparing. Back at the Council, the Chancellor spoke to his people. The humans are monsters. They threaten galactic peace, but deep down, everyone in that hall knew the truth. The humans were simply doing what the Council had done to them. They called it justice. Now, the galaxy would call it fire. The final scene of Part 3 closes on a breathtaking image. 1,000 human ships forming a burning formation above the black of space. their lights spelling one chilling word across the stars. Remember. The screen fades to black as the narrator's voice echoes. The ghost fleet had awakened, and the galaxy would never sleep again. The Galactic Council's war fleets advanced like a wall of metal, spreading across star systems in perfect formation. Thousands of ships, each larger than a city, glowed with power. Their mission was simple: erase whatever remained of humanity. The Council believed overwhelming strength would end the fear, but fear had already changed sides. At the edge of the Helion Nebula, in a region the Council thought empty, the Ghost Fleet waited in silence. No engines flared, no transmissions leaked. Only faint blue lights moved between the shadows, human ships preparing for war. Inside the flagship Resolute Dawn, Commander Reeve stood before the holographic map. The galaxy shimmered before him, dotted with red marks, enemy fleets converging from all directions. The AI voice spoke calmly. Council Armada entering range. 12,000 vessels. Energy output catastrophic. Reeve's tone remained cold. Good. They came to us. Around him, his officers, revived soldiers, scarred engineers, and AI avatars watched without fear. They had died once already. This time they fought with nothing left to lose. Status of planetary defenses? Reeve asked. Earth's orbital cannons are operational. Mars platforms online. Neptune defense ring at 50%, Reeve nodded. Then it's enough. In the darkness between the stars, two forces faced each other, the largest armada in galactic history and a fleet that was never supposed to exist. The Council's lead admiral, a towering reptilian named Dravthor, addressed his troops through the comms. Remember, they are weak remnants of a dead race. End this war before their ghosts spread further. He raised his claw. Fire. A storm of energy beams filled the void, lighting up the darkness like a second sun. Entire sectors glowed red. The Council ships cheered until the light faded. There was nothing. No explosions, no wreckage, just empty space. Where are they? One officer shouted. Then from behind the armada, hundreds of blue flashes appeared. Invisible human ships uncloaked at close range. Their weapons already locked. Targets acquired, said the human AI. The sky turned blue. Thousands of plasma lances erupted from nowhere, slicing through alien dreadnoughts before they could turn. Each strike was surgical, silent, and final. Council formations collapsed in seconds. Admiral Dravthor's bridge shook violently. How are they behind us? His officer screamed, They used our own warp signatures. The rest of his words vanished in fire. From the Resolute Dawn, Reeve watched without emotion. The battle played across the holographic display like a pattern of falling stars. Initiate pulse wave, he ordered. A deep hum filled the ship. The Ghost Fleet released a massive electromagnetic surge, a weapon designed not to destroy but to blind. Every alien scanner, every radar, every targeting system went dark across the armada. In the chaos, human ships moved like hunters in the dark. They struck from every angle, leaving trails of blue fire and silence. One alien captain begged over the comms, Identify yourselves. We surrender. Reeve didn't respond. For every human city burned, 10 alien worlds would remember. On the Galactic Council's capital world, the High Chancellor stood frozen before the transmission screens. The battle feed from the front line showed nothing but static. Then a single message appeared on every channel. Phase 2 complete. Phase 2? The Chancellor whispered. There was a Phase 2? Firal, the young observer, stepped forward slowly. Yes, Phase 1 was survival. Phase 2 is dominance. The Chancellor slammed his hand on the table. We must call for unity. Send a message, offer peace. Viral looked at him with sadness. They gave you that chance long ago. The Chancellor turned toward the star window, watching faint lights of explosions in distant space. Then they mean to destroy us all. No, Viral said quietly. They mean to remind us who we tried to erase. Meanwhile, in the ruins of an alien fortress world, Commander Reeve walked across scorched metal. The air shimmered with heat. Around him, human soldiers, flesh and synthetic, moved in perfect coordination. The enemy's central AI core lay half-melted before him. Reeve knelt beside it. You tried to command a galaxy, he said softly. You never understood that chaos is where humans thrive. The AI core blinked weakly. Your vengeance will destroy what remains of civilization. Reeve stared into its dying light. Then we'll rebuild it. Our way. He stood up and looked toward the horizon where the sun of the alien world burned faintly red. Transmit message to all systems. The AI obeyed. Across the stars, every active comm channel, every broadcast frequency, and every ship receiver suddenly changed to a single human transmission. This is Earth Command. To the Galactic Council, your reign ends tonight. You declared humanity defeated. You forgot what makes us human. We learn, we adapt, and when the fire comes, we walk through it. The message repeated across the galaxy. On distant worlds, ordinary aliens paused their work, staring at the holographic human face lit by blue fire. For the first time, they felt something their leaders never did: respect mixed with fear. As the Council's fleets continued to fall, the surviving admirals gathered for an emergency transmission. Their holograms flickered, their voices desperate. "We must retreat," shouted one. "No, attack their planet directly," screamed another. "They'll expect that." The Chancellor finally appeared on screen, his expression hollow. "It doesn't matter what we do. They have already won." Then the feed cut off again, overridden by another human broadcast. This time, it wasn't Commander Reeve. It was a woman, an old scientist from Earth, her hair white, her voice calm and clear. "To those who still call us extinct," she said, "look to your skies. The stars you see burning tonight are not dying, they're being rewritten." Her eyes glowed faintly blue. Humanity does not end. It evolves. Hours later, as the Ghost Fleet regrouped beyond the Helion Nebula, Reeve stood on the bridge, watching the final flashes fade in the distance. The AI's voice broke the silence. "Enemy casualties exceed 90%. Remaining fleets retreating to inner sectors." Reeve nodded slowly. "Then the message has been delivered." "What message?" the AI asked. "That humanity's silence," Reeve said, "was never surrender. It was the sound of sharpening knives." He turned away as the stars outside began to dim, covered by drifting ashes and broken metal. The final shot of Part 4 shows the Galactic Council's capital world from orbit, its surface dark, its fleets in ruins. From the shadows of space, human ships hover silently, their blue lights reflecting off the planet's rings. One final human transmission echoes through every system. Fire from the void cleanses all lies. The age of the Council is over. The age of humanity begins. The screen fades to black. The once glorious capital world of the Galactic Council lay beneath a wounded sky. Great towers that had shone like crystal now burned red, their reflections dancing across shattered domes. Ships littered the horizon like falling stars, silent and broken. The planet that once decided the fate of empires now trembled under the shadow of humanity's return. Inside the Council's grand chamber, the surviving delegates gathered. The air was thick with smoke and fear. The massive circular table that had hosted centuries of decisions was cracked in half. The great banners of the Council hung in tatters. The High Chancellor, his silver skin dimmed and dulled, looked over the remaining faces. Dozens of species once proud and powerful now stared at the floor, too afraid to meet each other's eyes. For the first time in history, there was no arrogance in that room, only dread. "We must open negotiations," the Chancellor said, his voice shaking. "If we can speak to them, perhaps they will accept surrender." Rune, the alien scientist who had once studied humanity, shook his head. "You don't negotiate with ghosts, Chancellor. You listen to them." A tense silence filled the room. The Chancellor glared. "We are not ghosts. We are rulers of the galaxy. We will rebuild." Veril, the young observer, spoke quietly. "Rebuild what?" "Your fleets are ash. Your colonies are gone. Your allies have turned off their comms out of fear. The galaxy doesn't follow you anymore. It listens to them." "Them?" the Chancellor spat. "You mean the humans? The vermin we erased?" Rune leaned forward. "You didn't erase them. You buried them alive." A distant tremor shook the floor. The lights flickered. Outside, a thunderous boom echoed as something enormous entered orbit. The Council members froze. "Contact?" an officer whispered into his comm. No response. Only static. Then slowly, the ceiling above them began to darken. The chamber's skylight showed a vast silhouette blotting out the stars, a human dreadnought miles wide, descending silently through the clouds. No engines roared, no weapons fired. It moved like a god descending from judgment, Viral stepped closer to the window. They're here. The Chancellor's voice broke. What do they want? No one answered. Moments later, the main holographic display came to life. A figure appeared, projected in blue light, the unmistakable image of Commander Reeve. His face was calm, his tone steady. This broadcast reaches every world that once bowed to the Council. Your fleets are gone. Your colonies are silent. Your history is ending tonight. The room fell to whispers and trembling. Reeve continued. You declared humanity defeated. You paraded our ashes before the stars. But we were listening. We were watching. We learned your strengths and your weaknesses. The Chancellor stood, trembling with rage. You are murderers. You slaughter worlds without warning. Reeve's hologram turned his gaze directly toward him. So did you. The difference is we remember what it cost. He leaned closer to the projection, his voice lowering. And we never forget. The transmission ended. Panic filled the chamber. He's bluffing, shouted one delegate. They wouldn't destroy the capital, but outside the sky changed color. Thousands of blue lights shimmered above the clouds, human ships forming into a perfect circle around the planet. Their formation was precise, almost ceremonial. They're not attacking, Viral said slowly. They're showing us something. The lights rearranged themselves, spelling a word across the atmosphere, one that every species, every world could read in their own language. Remember. The council members looked at each other, terrified. What do they want us to remember? Ruin whispered. The day we declared them extinct. Moments later, the chamber doors slid open. A shockwave of silence filled the hall as footsteps echoed. A small group entered, humans real and breathing. They wore black armor marked with the burning earth insignia. Their leader removed his helmet. It was Commander Reeve himself. Every alien in the room froze. For generations, they had called humans beasts, savages, and myths. Now one stood before them, alive and unafraid. The Chancellor stepped forward, shaking. You can't be here. The atmosphere, the radiation. Reeve's voice was calm. Your planet used to be deadly to us. We adapted. He looked around at the broken chamber. So this is your mighty council. I expected more. Rune bowed his head slightly. Commander, you've proven your strength. But if this is revenge, it's over. You've won. Why are you here? Reeve turned toward him. Because war was never our purpose. Survival was. You burned our home, so we built a new one out of your fear. He glanced at the trembling Chancellor. And now we've come to give you your verdict. The Chancellor's voice cracked. Verdict? You think you are gods now? Reeve's expression hardened. No. We're the reminder that gods can bleed. He stepped closer, the sound of his boots echoing. You spoke judgment over Earth. You called us primitive, dangerous, unworthy. But tell me, who looks unworthy now? The Chancellor tried to stand tall, but his voice shook. If you destroy us, you'll become what we were. Reeve paused. His eyes softened for a brief moment. No, we already became what you feared. Now we choose what we become next. He turned to leave. Your world will remain, but your council will not. Within minutes, human ships deployed small metallic capsules that rained gently across the capital. Each one emitted a wave that disabled communication systems and power grids without killing a single life form. Every alien looked up at the silent storm above them. The great towers dimmed. The city fell quiet. Reeve looked to the sky. Let them live with the silence they gave us. He walked away, leaving the Chancellor trembling amid the ruins of his power. Viral called out softly, Commander! What happens now? Reeve stopped at the door. Now the galaxy remembers balance. He left without another word. The doors sealed behind him and the chamber fell into cold stillness. Outside, the ghost fleet rose into the dark clouds, engines whispering like thunder. From orbit, the human dreadnoughts turned away from the burning world and vanished into hyperspace, leaving behind a galaxy forever changed. On 1,000 worlds, the same message appeared once more. The Council has fallen. The stars are free. Humanity has returned. That night, as Viral stood among the ruins, he looked up at the fading blue glow in the sky. They could have destroyed us, he murmured. Run nodded beside him. They didn't need to. Fear will finish what fire began. The stars above flickered faintly as if watching. Somewhere out there, humanity moved silently between them. No longer a defeated race, but a force reborn. And in the wind that swept through the silent capital, It almost sounded like a whisper. Never call Earth defeated again. The galaxy was quiet. For the first time in thousands of years, no orders came from the Council. No fleets roamed the skies, no decrees were sent to the colonies. The capital world, once the center of authority, lay still beneath its burned clouds. Above it, only fragments of light drifted, the remnants of the Council's power fading into nothingness. Weeks passed. The silence spread. Trade routes went dark. Military signals vanished, and entire civilizations stopped speaking. Every world waited for what might come next. An invasion, a judgment, another firestorm. But nothing came. The humans were gone, or so it seemed. On the edge of the Milky Way, beyond the faintest stars, the Ghost Fleet gathered one final time. Thousands of ships floated in formation around a dying blue star. The resolute Dawn, scarred but unbroken, sat at the center. Commander Reeves stood on the bridge, looking out at the endless expanse. The war was over, yet his eyes carried no joy. "Only memory, status of all units?" he asked quietly. The AI's soft voice replied, "Fleet integrity, 72%. Enemy resistance, none. Communication intercepts, silent," Reeve nodded. "And Earth?" The holographic screen showed the image of their homeworld. Still scarred, still half-burned, but alive. Green patches had begun to return to its surface. The oceans glowed faintly blue, repaired by nanotech seeds released from orbit. Reeve stared at it for a long moment. "After everything, we made them remember us," the AI paused. "What now, Commander?" He smiled faintly. "Now we disappear again. We've said enough." Far away on the Council's ruined capital, Veril walked through what used to be the Hall of Races. Statues of once mighty species lay in pieces, crushed beneath collapsed pillars. The young alien stopped before a shattered symbol, the emblem of the Galactic Council, and stared at the deep burn marks on the floor where human boots had once stood. Run joined him, his movement slow, his eyes heavy with thought. "Their ships are gone," he said softly. "Every sensor across the sectors confirms it. The humans vanished as suddenly as they came." Veril touched one of the burn marks. "No, they didn't vanish. They simply went home," Rune nodded. "Or somewhere beyond it." Together they walked outside, into the night sky. Above them the stars shimmered more brightly than ever. But one of them, the star where Earth lay, glowed just a little stronger than the rest. Meanwhile, deep in the Sol system, Earth was alive again. The cities once buried under ash now shimmered beneath transparent domes. Giant forests regrew where deserts had burned, and within the Pacific Ocean a massive structure pulsed, the Arc Nexus, the center of a new human civilization. Inside, Commander Reeve met with the surviving leaders, scientists, engineers, and AI cores that had guided humanity through extinction and rebirth. An older woman, Dr. Mira Solon, spoke first. "The galaxy has learned its lesson. They won't come again soon. But fear fades with time." Reeve looked around the glowing chamber. "Then we'll let time carry the story for us." She tilted her head. "You mean to become ghosts again?" He nodded. "We don't need thrones or flags. We need memory. Let them remember us not as conquerors, but as consequences." The AI beside them projected data. Galactic broadcasts remain silent. Fear levels among border civilizations remain high. No one dares approach the Sol system. Reeve looked toward the planet spinning below. "Good, then we can rebuild." He paused, then added, "Transmit the final message." The AI asked, "To whom?" Reeve smiled faintly. "To everyone." Moments later, every active signal in the galaxy, every communication beacon, every data stream, every ship's navigation display, flickered once and changed. Across hundreds of worlds, aliens looked up as their holographic screens turned blue. A human face appeared, calm, expressionless, framed by the soft light of Earth behind it. "This is Earth Command. Humanity will not rule. We will not conquer. We will simply exist, as the shadow in your history, the voice you hear when arrogance blinds you. Remember us not as monsters, but as mirrors. What you saw in our war was your own reflection." The voice paused. In the silence, the stars themselves seemed to listen. "We fought not for glory, not for revenge, but for remembrance. You declared us extinct. Now you will remember why that word never suited us. Humanity does not vanish. It evolves." The screen faded to black, and then for one final moment, the broadcast returned, showing a single line of text glowing across the galaxy's communication network. Phase 3. Silence. Across alien worlds, the message became legend. On desert planets, children whispered about the humans who turned defeat into fire. On ocean worlds, sailors said that if you stared long enough at the stars, you could still see blue ships moving in the dark. Some believed Earth had isolated itself forever. Others claimed it had moved beyond the Milky Way, building a new home among uncharted galaxies. But everyone agreed on one truth. The galaxy was no longer united under the Council. It was united under fear, under respect, under the memory of the day humanity answered with fire. Decades later, Verrill sat by an old window on the Capitol's ruins, now a museum. Young students from dozens of species surrounded him. "Teacher," one asked, "were the humans truly so terrible?" Verrill smiled sadly. "No, they were exactly like us. That was what made them dangerous." Another student asked, "Will they ever return?" He looked out toward the faint glow of the Sol system. "Perhaps. But if they do, it won't be for war. It will be to remind us that peace was their final weapon." Far beyond known space, the resolute Dawn drifted among the stars. Reeve stood alone on the observation deck. Before him stretched a field of light, nebulae glowing like oceans of fire. He took one long breath. "The Council's gone. The galaxy is quiet." The AI spoke gently. "Mission complete." Reeve looked at the stars, his reflection faint in the glass. "Not complete," he whispered. "Just beginning." Outside, hundreds of dormant human ships floated silently, their lights fading one by one. No sound, no signal, no trace. The last light flickered, a single blue glow in the dark, and then it too disappeared. Centuries would pass. Civilizations would rise and fall. The galaxy would forget the names of empires, but one legend would remain, a story whispered between the stars. When arrogance rules the cosmos, the fire from Earth will rise again. And somewhere, deep in the void, a dormant system waited, its console flashing a single word in endless cycles: awakening.